Hello and welcome to Back to the Future with Evan and Gabby. Double features, double takes. This is the podcast where we talk about two movies, one new, one older, what makes them a good pair, and how the history of films influences the present. I'm Evan.
And I'm Gabby.
And today we're discussing some films that made us feel really creeped out. We are discussing Backrooms
and 1
hour photo. Two films that dare to question the realities of mentally unwell people, and question they do. Hitting a little close to home, yeah?
It's a little close to home, Evan. I don't know.
Yeah, I really confronted a lot of things, you know?
I don't know if I confronted anything, but I have a feeling like I should, you know?
Yeah.
I left feeling like, oh, maybe I should go back to therapy.
Maybe I should just go back to the back rooms.
You know, I did have that thought too. I was like, wow, in the back rooms, I wouldn't have to plan a wedding. I wouldn't need to look for a new job. I wouldn't need to do anything. I would just be able to vibe with the people that have like 3 faces on one face. Who says no? Seems like a party.
Who says no? Yeah, it's been a while since we last recorded. I think we've both been busy with different things. The last episode we did was Devil Wears Prada 2, which feels...
Woo!
Not only did we upload the episode late, which is my fault, but that was like a million years ago. That was a full month ago.
That feels like years ago at this point. And especially in movie-going time, I feel like so much has come out in the past few weeks that we just have like elected to ignore. Number 1 being Sheep Detectives, which I neglected to see, and you bravely saw and said that we did not have to cover. So if the people are upset that we didn't cover Sheep Detectives, they can put the blame squarely onto you.
Yeah, we'll go back towards the end of the year if everyone really wants a Sheep Detectives episode.
Clamoring for the sheep. Mandalorian and Grogu also came out, I suppose.
Mandalorian and Grogu, more like Mandalorian and Poo Poo. That bored me. Oh my god. I think that what I'll say about Mandalorian and Grogu is that the movie will not win you over if you are not open to it already. Like, it will not win you over. Mandalorian and Grogu managed to do what a lot of anime movies do, like anime movies that are from series, is that they made the movie completely inconsequential to the show. And so that on one hand, it's cool that you didn't have to watch the show. You could just jump into the movie. But on the other hand, there's a lot of setup and like retreads of stuff. And also, Jeremy Allen White as jacked Rada the Hutt says, "I'm not my father, I'm my own man," twice. He says it twice to make the same point in 2 different parts of the movie. It's the same scene twice. It's very, very upsetting because it feels like no one gave you a note to take that out. Just take out the one line. But it's almost verbatim the same line twice, and it was just really disappointing. I didn't have high hopes for it. I think so I'm not like overall I'm not like, oh, that sucked, but it does make me like not optimistic for the future of Star Wars on film, you know?
Yeah. I'm just gonna choose to ignore it and be like, Andor, what a time that was.
What a time, yeah.
What a time that we'll never get back. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, and even Mandalorian Grogu isn't squarely for kids either. Like, it's so confusing, like what's happening. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was tough.
You told me at my engagement party that we didn't have to cover it, and that was honestly the best gift that we got that night.
On the drive over, I was like, "Hey Matt, I think I forgot to get a gift." He's like, you can sign the card that I got. It could be from the both of us." And I was like, "No, my gift will be bringing you to this party."
And what a gift it was.
What a gift it was.
But yeah, didn't cover that. And I mean, this one I don't think we could have prepared for, and we'll talk about it a little bit more as we get into this podcast. I still have not seen it. I have a ticket to see it this week. But Obsession became a huge, huge hit. The very, very few movies of the past, like, literal multiple decades to increase its box office in a second week and going into a third week, I believe.
Yeah.
Huge hit, huge success. I'm really excited to see it. I've heard only good things. everyone I know that has seen like Obsession and Backrooms has like seemed to like Obsession more. Um, so I'm interested to kind of see the parallels for myself. Um, but yeah, as you mentioned, I haven't been we haven't been recording as much, and I disappointedly have not been to the movies as much this month because I had family in town
Yeah,
and they
that's
don't
fair.
go to the movies with me. Or I should say they will go to the movies with me, but they will have their phones on full brightness while they sit next to me, and I just can't bring that to the theater. Not in Los Angeles, you know. They're going to
Yeah.
get bullied. They're going
Yeah.
to not understand why, you
You could
know.
buy them tickets for the full back row and be like, "Oh no, my finger slipped. I bought one ticket like further away from you guys and all three of you in the back row." That's crazy, but I
That's
guess we can do
nuts.
that. Yeah.
Sure.
I met your
Um
family at your
you
engagement
did.
party.
Mhm.
I was
All
very
fans of the pod.
I mean, listen, I'm no stranger to being recognized, but I was like, wow, really, with some big fans over here. I'm getting a lot of
I
compliments.
mean, that was the no like literally a bigger question than like any questions they had about my fiance or my fiance's family. They were like, "Is Evan going to be at the party?" I'm not kidding.
Oh
Um
boy. Oh boy.
but
Yeah. Well, it was
yeah,
nice to
that
meet them.
was
They were all very nice. Yeah, even if they do watch movies with phone full brightness.
yeah, I know. You kind of have to give them that one, but in certain parts of the country that is acceptable, I guess. Uh, Although someone rudely had their phone brightness on while I was in Backrooms yesterday, and they were furniture shopping online.
What?
I'm not making this up. They were literally like scrolling, like free and for sale on Facebook Marketplace, looking at stools.
Oh my god. When they go to sleep at night, they're gonna be in a room full of stools and they'll be like,
Yeah,
how
I
did I
hope they
get
can't get
here?
out. I hope they
Yeah.
can't get out.
Stuck in the dreamscape.
Well, that's kind of just what we saw or didn't see theatrically, but Evan, you have been at the movies, haven't ya?
Mm-hmm.
What have
I've
you
been
been
out
watching?
there. I've been hitting the AMC app. I've been buying tickets. I've been buying
Mhm,
tickets not
mhm.
on AMC. I've seen a lot of great stuff and
Not
a
on
lot of
AMC.
yeah, I've seen a lot of great stuff, seen a lot of okay stuff. Some things I wanted to highlight over the last couple of weeks that I
Mhm,
saw. I love Boosters, the new Boots Riley film. I understand that it's pretty divisive, but I did leave the movie
mm,
liking it a lot, and I think there's something to be said about and this will honestly be a theme that comes up in this
mm.
podcast later on, but there's something to be said about a director who fully believes in their vision and knows how to get it on the screen and is unconcerned with how people feel about the execution of that, you know? Because it's like for them, they've gotten this thing to the screen.
Yeah.
So I Love Boosters is really great. Follows Kiki Palmer and a group of other people in a San Francisco like city where they are
Mm,
boosters. They are stealing things from department stores to sell for profit elsewhere. Um, and it takes some really really interesting turns. For me it was a great like not even magical realism but like surreal, like just a very specifically pitched reality that I really
mm.
appreciated.
Interesting. You know, it's funny you say that because that's exactly how I felt about Sorry to Bother You, which is
Yes.
like, I really respected it and appreciated
Mm-hmm.
it. I didn't really like it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there were parts of it that I liked, but other times I was just like, I don't know. I feel like it's trying too hard to be divisive. Um,
Yeah.
but I do still want to see I Love Boosters. It is pretty high on my list of things to catch up on with Obsession.
Yeah.
Um, what else?
um
You have a list here.
I have a list here. I'm gonna go through them pretty quickly. So
Mhm.
last night I saw the movie Another World. This is a Hong Kong animated film that is making a lot of money overseas. I believe there's a lot of hype around it. It is based off a Japanese book, so it feels very anime esque. There's a lot of anime like themes. This movie, I went with a group of friends pretty late at night. As soon as it ended, me and my friend next to me, Brian, we were just like, I don't know how to feel about this movie because
Mm.
not only did we watch it And sorry, Brian, I didn't say this, but not only did we watch it in possibly the worst AMC screen we could have watched it at, which I will say is the AMC Atlantic Times 14 Theater 1, terrible. Theater 14, terrible. So if there are good screens in the Monterey Park AMC, let me know. But I fully will be complaining tonight because those screens are so bad. And there was something so thrilling about going to the movie theater at 9:45 and seeing so many people leaving. Like, it felt like it was the early 2000s again. Like, so many people were at the movie. If so many people are going to go to the movie, make the screens better. Do not give us these faded projections. It is so frustrating. Anyways, all that to say, yeah, I'm about to send that Karen email to AMC like as soon as we get off the pod.
Evan, you're doing the Lord's work. This is the people counting votes for LA County are working hard, but you, Evan, you are working harder. You're bringing the screens back.
Thank you. That's exactly,
cannot do that.
Exactly what I needed to hear on a Sunday night before work.
Yeah. It is kind of nice though. Even I left AMC 16, which was always kind of popping, but left there last night at like 10 o'clock. And there were not only like tons of people leaving, but so many people coming in to see late night movies. And I was like, hell yeah, we're back.
Yeah.
We are so back. How many of them do you think were going to see the next movie on your list?
Well, but just really quick to wrap up Another World. I didn't like it. I don't recommend it. It's confusing. This is probably the most vocally negative I've been about a movie on Letterboxd, which takes a lot. And on this podcast is a little different, right? This is a little bit more discussion based, but on Letterboxd, I try not to say anything negative unless I really feel really heated about the movie. And this one, it was tough because it's not like anything, but it's also too much at the same time. And I don't know, it's really dark. It's not a movie for kids, even though it's bright and animated. It's it is not. It's really tough, and it was a tough sit. But how many people do we think, as Gabby was setting up the segue before, how many people do we think we're seeing Masters of the Universe, which I just got out of minutes before we hopped on the mic. Yeah, that's where I was coming from.
Okay, so this is an instant take.
Yes, I'm looking up the Box Office Mojo right now to see how much money it's made so far. It's made 54 million worldwide, 29 million domestic. Okay. I think that's okay.
I expected worse.
Yeah,
I expected lower, so I think that's maybe higher than people would have expected. Maybe just people be going back to the movies. We are back.
We are back. I think there was a statistic my friend sent me that movie theater attendance is the highest it's been since 2019 in this time period. That's right. Which is big because 2019, what was coming out around this time? Avengers Endgame.
Ooh. Well, it's also been reported that I think since we last recorded that Gen Z is bringing the movies back. Highest percentage of attendance for a generation currently is Gen Z. Never been prouder to be a Gen Z cusp. Let's go.
Now we fully own our Gen Z status. No cap, 6'7".
Oh, I don't know what that means. That's my millennial side. I'm like, excuse me. That side of the cusp is like, what's wrong with you?
I did that one for the clip, and we'll keep in me saying that
we will keep it. For the clip. Yeah, for the clip.
Anyways, Masters of the Universe. It what I liked it okay. I have no relation to He-Man at all or any of the franchise. But what I really appreciate about Masters of the Universe are two things. The primary one being, I like that the movie tried to do something. And I think it's kind of successful because we've gotten such a deluge of IP over the last 15, almost 20 years at this point, that these IP blockbusters aren't saying anything anymore. They're just like, aren't you excited for the next character? Aren't you excited for these Easter eggs? So I like that there was a very coherent theme in Masters of the Universe that it was trying to pay off. And I think it works. I think you could have spent a little bit more time making that work. But I thought it was pretty fun. And the second reason that I like this movie is Camila Mendes. And all I'll say about that.
Okay. No explanation needed here.
I think it's time for me to watch Riverdale. I'll just say it.
You know? Yeah. Riverdale is a show that I watched like the first season of and then would just hear bits and pieces of for like the
Hmm.
next 8 years. And I don't know how many seasons it even had. It just seemed like it never ended. But every single time that somebody would tell me about what was going on in that show, I was like, oh, are the writers trying to get it canceled?
There's magic now?
Yeah, I'd be like, they're in a board game now? Oh, he's alive? Oh my god. Charles
So
Melton was
crazy.
on this?
Mm-hmm. Charles Melton was on it. Charles Melton was recast, or he
He was
was the person
No, I
who
think he
filled
was
it?
recast.
Yeah, because it was him and
I
Ross
think
Butler. Yeah.
yeah, I think he was
Um.
recast. Previously mentioned, I have not been to the movies very much, but I did manage to go to a killer screening at Vidiot's this week um of Stop Making Sense.
Oh, fun.
The Jonathan Demme Talking Heads music documentary or
Yeah.
concert film. It's not really a documentary. It is a life affirming experience to see this in a
Mm-hmm.
theater because people just like everyone was dancing, like nobody was in their seat.
Yep.
Everyone was just like dancing, like singing, just like vibing. And I was like, yeah, this is good. This is how I need to feel at this moment.
I think attending the Stop Making Sense screening at Video, it's like once a year, is really like almost like a requirement at this point.
It's
It just is
really
great.
like it's doing more for me than any of the medications that I'm currently on at this moment. Like that screening is just like lifted me through this week. I was like,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh,
Highly
that's
recommend.
incredible.
They do
Yeah.
it pretty they do it, I guess, I think at least twice a year. They
Yeah.
do Stop Making Sense. And
Yeah,
it sells
because
out
they're a
every
big
time.
band.
So keep an eye out.
Get your
Subscribe to
tickets
the Vidiot's
early.
email.
Yeah, they
Mhm,
do
mhm.
RRR in that same kind of frequency, and cadence, and that's
Yes.
another fun experience at videos that I've yet to attend. I guess, yeah, like wherever you are, your local movie theater, even if it's a chain, is likely screening something older, and it's always worth it to check something out like older on the big
Yeah.
screen, especially if it's a first watch. The last thing I'll say is that I got to see a new 4K restoration of the independent film Baby It's You, starring
Oh.
Rosanna Arquette, and I want to get his
Mm.
name right because I got it wrong earlier, Vincent Spano. This is a John Sayles movie, and this movie should be, along with Ghost Dog Way of the Samurai and
Huh.
Clerks, the New Jersey Independent Film Hall of Fame, because this,
Really?
yeah, Baby It's You captures a very specific flavor
Mm.
of suburban New Jersey. It's really fun. Rosanna Arquette is great. Patricia Arquette was in the audience, and we walked by
Mm.
her on the way out. Um, Really great to see this film on the big screen. I'd only previously caught it like on digital, so
Mm.
it's a nice kind of coming of age, like rom-com, rom dram, so to speak. Highly recommend if it gets a physical release, and or you can
Mhm.
rent it online with this new 4K restoration.
Nice. I'll have to catch it. If only we still made movies like that.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll come back. But
Maybe Gail Daughtry and the Celebrity Hall Pass will be
oh
our
my god.
solve to that this year.
We're gonna be there. We're gonna be there to support our gal. Your
Yeah.
number one gal. But
Camila Mendes is coming for the throne.
oh, okay. I was gonna say Zoe Deutsch maybe should be one of my celebrity hall passes. I don't know.
Oh god.
I
Yeah.
think she's tragically very heterosexual, judging on her like very alpha fiance. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah. Well,
They
speaking of
exist.
hall passes, let's go to the halls that never end. Let's start talking about the back rooms. Gabby, how did you watch the back rooms?
So glad you asked. I went last night after work, straight from work, to
Mm-hmm.
AMC 16. Smuggled myself a burrito into that screening because I was starving. Um, just wear an oversized jacket and put it in the pockets. No one will ask.
The
Um, I saw it. I was a little disappointed. It's out of all of the kind of like prime
mm-hmm.
theaters this weekend because I caught it in the second weekend of the release. But it was still really packed. It was pretty much sold out except for the front row. And it was really lively. Like it was definitely like
Oh,
people
cool.
catching on to the
Yeah.
trend of this film, um, and lots of teens
Mm-hmm.
with their parents, and I was like, interesting.
With their parents. Oh my
I
god.
saw at least three, like, yeah, 13-year-olds and above come in with their parents.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Interesting.
Family night. Come on, Evan.
Well, I couldn't be bothered because I watched it at 9:45 a.m. Saturday opening weekend because I was so scared of what the movie could be. I had my hat. Listeners of the podcast
Your
know that when
hat.
I've been watching horror movies, I have a hat to cover my eyes, and
Mm-hmm.
also I usually have earplugs, which helps with the jump scares. I forgot my earplugs. I was driving to the theater. I was like, "Oh no, I don't have
Mm.
earplugs." And I just was like, do I buy earplugs right now? Am I that scared of being scared?" And you know what? I
Mm.
pulled over to a Rite Aid or Dwayne Reed, whatever they're called here, and I got some earplugs.
You know what? That's beautiful. I wish we had Dwayne Reed's here. We don't. So much
It was a
so that
Walgreens
we
because Rite
went,
Aid went out of
yeah.
business.
We went to the Lily Allen concert a couple months ago, and
Hmm.
she, in case you're not up on this lore, Evan, she has a song that is very good on her album that is very good called Pussy Palace, and
Hmm.
it has a very notable lyric that involves a Dwayne Reed bag and a bunch of butt plugs and condoms. And my fiance, just like super casual, we got out of that concert and she was like, "What's a Dwayne Reed?" Yeah. That's how much they don't have them on the West Coast. She's from here and
Yeah.
she was like, "What is Dwayne Reed?"
It's
And I
just
was like,
complicated because
"Excuse you?"
it has the same color palette as Rite Aid.
Yes, you were used to. Rite Aid like rebranded before they went bankrupt or something.
Oh yeah, they rebranded to the green, the light green, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Never
But
forget.
never
Um
forget.
anyway, I'm glad you got your earplugs. Did they help?
Yeah, actually I ended up
Okay.
taking them out because spoiler, not really spoiler, but the movie was not as scary as I thought it would be.
You know,
Um
when it started, I was like a little bit like, "Oh, I guess I really don't know where it's
yeah,
going and like much
yeah.
about it." We'll get into it, but I'm very not familiar with any of the lore of Backrooms with the web series.
Mhm.
None of it went in cold. And I truly thought to myself in the opening minutes of the movie when I was like looking through my hands a little bit, I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, Evan watched this and he didn't say he was super scared, so I'll be fine."
Yeah, I mean, I think it's quite a captivating opening, but let's get into introducing Backrooms. So,
Yeah.
Backrooms released May 29, 2026, directed by Kane Parsons, written by Will Sudik, and based on Backrooms by Kane Parsons. So, this was an internet phenomenon inspired by a single image, and Kane Parsons helped develop, flesh out a world around it, an internet creepypasta, to use
Mhm.
some internet parlance. Produced by what Gabby has written, a murderer's row of horror movie aficionados, including James Wan, Osgood Perkins, and Sean Levy.
I don't know if he's a horror aficionado, but he's a blockbuster guy now, I guess. I don't
That's
know.
true. I didn't notice any
I
Deadpool jokes in
am.
there, Sean. Come on.
Come on.
Anyways, this movie stars Chiwetel Ejiofor, Renata Rensby, Mark Duplass, Finn Bennett, and Lukita Maxwell. Just a summary if you're unaware of the story around the movie. The movie follows a furniture store owner who discovers a liminal space existing in a parallel realm and finds himself drawn further and further inside as his life outside unravels. That's a good. Did you write that one?
I sure did.
That's good. Yeah, that's a great one.
Thank you, thank you. It's almost like I'm a writer. Oh my god. Uh but I thought yeah, I thought I wanted to be as general as possible in case
Yeah.
people also are kind of coming in cold, don't know what it's about, because I do think this movie is not really spoilable, like to an extent. Like I
Yeah.
feel like there are some things about it, but that, like jump scares and stuff that could get spoiled, but I think they don't give you enough information for it to be spoilable.
Yeah, which is We can get into some of that a little bit later. Yeah.
Yeah, let's start. I mean, I think I liked this movie more than you.
Hmm.
I liked it more than I thought I would. I was expecting a Skinamarink situation, honestly, and I'm gonna go on record. I hate that movie. I don't get it. I don't like it. I had a bad time watching it. Bad. Um,
Uh-huh.
but overall, I was really intrigued, and I thought that the scares in this one mostly worked for me.
Hmm.
Never want to see a like downward tunnel or hallway again. My life that gets like it looks like a void. That one was bad. I
Oh
don't need that.
yeah. That was a
Uh,
lot.
that was not good for me. But like I said, I don't know anything about Backrooms, the web series, or the lore, or
Hmm.
I know that some people are like, oh, there's a monster in Backrooms, but it's not this one. I'm like, could have fooled me, because I think it does stand alone well enough,
Yeah. Yeah.
to that I didn't feel like I needed to know anything afterwards either. Like, sometimes you leave a movie like this, and I feel like it could be easy to kind of fall into the lore hole of
Hmm.
like going through wikis about like what is the Backrooms really. But what I appreciated about this movie is that, and it sounds like maybe you didn't appreciate about it, is that it doesn't really give you that much, but in a way that makes me want to see what they would do, and not like what they would do in a screen adaptation, not necessarily like the YouTubeification of it, you know? Like I feel like even Kane Parsons has kind of said that he thinks of it as separate.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I see what you're saying there. I think I agree also with what you were saying about this movie. I think it gives you just enough lore so that it doesn't feel off-putting that you don't know it because it's answering as many questions as it wants to in the film.
Mhm. Right,
Yeah.
that's what I'm trying to say, and I frankly didn't have many other questions that I felt like were pressing to this
Mhm.
story. Like, maybe there could be, I mean, I do think it's obviously set up to be something that they could make 10 Backrooms movies,
Yeah.
and I'm sure that they will, after the success of this one,
Mhm.
but yeah, it wasn't necessarily something, and maybe that is it's a success to me because I don't like lore stuff or things that require a lot of homework, in
Mhm.
this day and age. But maybe that could also be seen as a failure that I didn't immediately go home and Google the Backrooms lore. I don't know.
I mean, I didn't either, and I think to your point, it does feel like it is separate. I think, um yeah, I with this movie, I was thoroughly entertained throughout. I do think there's moments where there's like poor pacing and things like that, but I was like
Mm.
intrigued, I was engaged. And I think it's kind of everything that a first feature should be, It's like a young director with a really confident vision is given the budget and the opportunity to work with seasoned actors to deliver on something that is pretty cool. And it's I think it's just one of those beautiful moments where Kane Parsons like was able to rise to the occasion and work beyond the medium he was used to deliver something that is engaging and is working with audiences. For me, I feel like there's not like a lot of there, so to speak, with the movie. Like I think that there's a disconnect between the idea of the back rooms and the characters that are inhabiting this movie world. Right. As we've said, we're not like backrooms lore experts, so I don't
Mhm.
know if these characters have existed in the lore. I don't know if
Oh, I don't think
analogs
so.
of these characters have, but with these specific characters, and the journey in which what they're processing via the back rooms, it felt like there was a little bit of a disconnect, and ultimately that's kind of like where I was like kind of checking out of the movie because I wasn't really engaging with their journeys. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I felt that. I think that the parts of the movie that didn't work for me were mostly the parts of it that are you can kind of feel working really hard to make it a cohesive movie structure.
Yeah.
Like giving the characters backstories and flashbacks to Renata Reins's character. Like, those kind of things felt really forced to me and just kind
Mm-hmm.
of like, I don't need them. And the
Yeah.
movie doesn't really need them. The movie does
Yeah.
not really need the, flashback to Mary, the therapist played by Renata Reinsve, uh, other than to tell us that she has a piece of concrete that she carries around that is
Mm-hmm.
shaped like her hand as a child that comes from the demolition of her childhood home.
Yeah.
That's basically it, and because it becomes like a plant and payoff in the movie. But
Mm-hmm.
other than that, I mean, we could have just seen that on her desk and saved 20 minutes.
Yeah, I think the movie doesn't quite like the backstories that do occur don't quite come into play in the third act, right? Like I think
Yeah.
we can talk, Chiwetel Ejiofor's character Clark, he owns his furniture store, but he wants to be an architect. He considers himself an architect who works at a
Mhm.
furniture store. However, him being an architect does not really come into play besides the fact that he can kind of map out the back rooms, but that isn't even really explored that well as
Not
like a
really.
a point that like is helps propel that connects to the movie in a larger way than just being able to like traverse the area. Um
Yeah. No, I definitely thought it was gonna be a little bit more of a plot point, but
mhm.
then I kind of forgave it because I honestly don't think this movie has much of a plot. Like, I think that
Yes, yeah.
I think that the criticisms that we're lobbying against it are like, what's not working for us is like when the movie is trying to force it to have a plot.
Yeah.
Like, I think that if it had just been a little bit more like, this character has discovered this and we don't know anything about his divorce or
Mhm.
his therapist or anything, I might have been more in, like, immediately. Like, I feel like it took
Yeah.
a while for me to be bought in after the intro. We mentioned
Mhm.
I thought that
Mhm.
the intro was very gripping, very
Yes.
arresting. It's found footage style. It's
Mhm.
very jarring, and
Mhm.
it does a really good job of kind of setting up this vibe of like, you're in a space that every room looks kind of the same but different.
Mhm.
Everything is off. There are like halves of like signs and pieces of furniture sticking out of the wall. Like, you don't really know where you are, and you can hear something following you but you're not sure what. It's creepy. And then it just like hard cuts to this, kind of Clark in real life and Clark's backstory and Clark in therapy. And I was like, it's like half an hour until we get back to the back rooms. I'm like, actually,
Yeah.
just put me in the back rooms.
Yeah, because there's something to be said about exploring those same moments and elements if Clark was engaging with them via the back rooms as like physical entity, right?
Right.
I think we can maybe just start moving into Spoilerville now because it's getting a little
Mm-hmm.
bit harder to talk around things. But
Spoilerville.
Spoilerville
Population you.
population, what it becomes revealed as far as what the back rooms are, so to speak, is creating shades of things and reflections and echoes of things that exist in real life, right? So we
Right.
are seeing elements and aspects of the world, the outside world, reflected inside. And as more characters that we come to know enter the back rooms, more of those things begin to be reflected and materialized while they're exploring. And so there's an exercise that Clark and Mary run through in their therapy session where they do
Mm-hmm.
role play,
Mm-hmm.
and that scene is called back at the end. And what I think like it starts as a really great scene and then maybe like falls apart, but I think is like a cool way to call back that moment and really reveal something about Clark. But
Yes.
there's something to be said about like what if Clark was going into the back rooms and seeing those echoes with these echoed versions of people in the world and playing out like his divorce, playing out these things.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe, and this will dovetail into something later, but like maybe that's not what the backrooms is to Kane.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think, but what this movie did communicate to me is that Kane knows what the backrooms are, and that's all that I really need to know when
Yeah.
I am trying to be in the hands of a filmmaker or a storyteller.
Mhm.
Does this person know where they're going? Do they know what they want to say? That's
Well,
like,
okay, yeah.
ah,
Well, I agree with that, but I don't know if I agree that Kane fully
mm,
knows that.
I mean, I think he knows what the backrooms are, and I think he knows where he wants to go with this iteration of it. But I do think that I really also like the scene that you're talking about for that reason.
Mhm.
I think that it is a callback. It is like something that gives us a new view of Clark and turns
Mhm.
him into the villain in that moment. And I think that I liked this movie more when I kind of determined in that scene that Clark is the villain here.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
that the villain is not really the backrooms. It's Clark becoming like more of what his psyche is trying to expose via being in the backrooms for however
Mhm.
long he's been in there. It's not really clear how long he's been in there. By the time that Mary finds him, she
Yeah.
kind of just goes to his store and there's a bunch of like unopened mail stuffed under the door, but the door is unlocked. So
Yeah.
I don't know. We don't know. It could be
Yeah.
weeks, it could be months, it could be a day. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, well, let's talk about one aspect of this that we were kind of talking about earlier with the opening, this kind of found footage aspect of the movie, right? Um the Backrooms as an internet phenomenon has been like one of those things that like it's been described as people you stumble upon it on
Right.
YouTube. You stumble upon what effectively becomes a found footage journey of this experiential liminal space. And so I think one of
Mm.
the major concerns about adapting that into a movie has been like, well, can you have like a plot and doesn't need it, right? And so we've been talking about like the plot and things like that. Is there a part of you that would have wanted this movie to be more found footage? Because there's two or three found footage sections in this movie, major ones, right?
Yes. I think that found footage personally to me is very scary.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know
Yeah.
why. I don't know what about it is so scary to me, but I was more afraid in the found footage sections than I was during any
A
like
100%.
kind of modernly shot, you
Yeah.
know, well executed steady cam footage throughout this movie. Um so I think it would have been more effective, but I'm not sure that you could have made the case for it and let like or you would have had to rework the structure of the movie. Like it would have
Mm-hmm.
had, like
It'd
to
be
make it
very
make
different.
sense. Right. To make it make sense why it's in that. There's just other like narrative hoops that you have to jump through to have it be found footage.
Mm-hmm.
But I did think that it worked in the places where it's employed in this movie. I thought it worked a lot. Um, I so much so that I recommended Blair Witch to be what we paired this with, but Evan said he would be too scared to watch that.
Too scared, and also I think because I think it's a great pairing link in though because of that aspect, right? Of just like
Mhm.
could you lean into found footage more to make this happen, right? Because Blair Witch is kind of like one of the OG like found
All
footage
found
horror movies,
footage.
you know?
And one of the scariest like movies that I remember ever. Like I think I also saw that at an age where I was like, "Oh my god." I was too young to be watching it, but I
Yeah.
was horrified by that movie.
Oh yeah, I mean, I bet. I am already, and I've never seen an inch of it.
I suggest you never watch it. As somebody who loves cameras and filming things, I don't think you should watch it. Um, but I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm curious. Did you also thought that that kind of worked better, or would
I mean, I thought they were the most interesting parts of the movie in the sense that like they were the scariest. They were the ones that felt like we were exploring the space actively because that was the focus. But also like when Clark, Kat and Bobby go through and Kat and Bobby are like eaten by whatever the form of the monster is
ah!
before Clark, encounters it. That part is crazy. The Christmas tree thing was so scary, you
Oh my
know?
god, the Christmas tree, but before that, when Bobby is just he goes down the aforementioned tunnel of
Yeah.
my
And the
nightmares through the
piles of
floor.
laundry.
the pile of laundry, but it has his shirt on
His
it already.
shirt. Yeah.
His end apartheid t-shirt.
Yeah.
In case you didn't know, we were in the 90s. Um, but yeah, I want to say is probably the scene where I was like, okay, I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm really, when that found footage section started and Bobby, like R.I.P. Bobby, I knew that was coming for him, but as soon as he went, it like got roped up, I was like, oh shit. But
Yeah.
I would say that was maybe the most effective sequence to me of the movie, is when Clark is kind of in this crazed state of post discovering the backrooms and needing to prove to, specifically to Mary, that he's not crazy, that it's
Mhm.
real. Because Mary, his therapist, is like, "Are you drunk?" Basically, like he has a noted alcohol problem, and his therapist is just like, "Oh, you're talking to me about these going through the wall in the basement of your store that you've been living in because your wife kicked you out. Are you drunk?" And he's trying to prove it. And that like certain like level of craziness that he attains
Mhm.
as a character and just in the performance, I think really locked me in to the movie,
Mhm.
and the found footage sequence really accentuated that. But yeah, I think they could have done more.
Yeah, I think they could have done more, but to your earlier point, yeah, the narrative hoops, I think it would make the movie pretty clunky. I think it changes, like, maybe it's a person going through like tapes that they found, and then it just becomes this whole mess, you know?
Or it just
Uh,
becomes, yeah, like Bobby's movie, like a film student or something.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, like it becomes different.
But I
And
do wish they use it more in some facet. I guess I don't have the answer, you know, on
bad
top of
pitch,
mind.
bad pitch.
Ah, bad pitch. Anyways, I do wanted to also talk about like what, different readings on the movie itself, and we were talking about like, Kane knowing what the backrooms are, but also like what do the backrooms mean to you as a person? Like,
Oof.
is it important to know what this device is? Like, right? Or Mark Duplass comes out, he's like, we're not
Mm,
sure what it is. These doors keep opening, you know?
right.
Um and they discovered it via like MRI machines because that's the tech that
Yeah.
they were using. So it
Scary.
feels scary. And so I guess like what to me, like, it was interesting sitting in the movie thinking about like what the backrooms like are, or what the like metaphor is. I feel like one read on it for me was like, this is like the world's collective subconscious, but the people who enter are the ones who like influence it more, right? And so
Mm.
with Mark Duplass's character, we see him watching some kind of like classic action adventure movie with his children, and also the scientist in the beginning who's down there. It seems like the monster that he encounters is different from the eventual monster of the movie, which is a distorted
Yes.
Captain Clark, right?
Yeah. I
And
think that's
yeah.
safe to say. I mean, I think it is safe to say that there are, many, many other layers of the back rooms that Clark and, his monster were not inhabiting. And
Hmm.
I mean, we never see that part of the back rooms from the opening in this movie again. So,
Yeah.
like that area where they have set up like the hazmat suit guys and the like kind of computer, like very early computer kind of systems to track him,
Hmm.
the radio stuff, like it's does never seen again. So I'm like, so there's another opening someplace
Hmm.
for them to get in, and who knows how many there are. Um, to me, I think that what makes it interesting is that it, and this surprises me because usually I really don't like when things are vague.
Hmm.
But I think that this specific kind of place, device, if you want to call it that, works because it's really vague and because it could be interpreted so many ways and because it can
Mm.
be personal to you and because it can, you know, manifest its way into like what the inside of Clark's brain looks like, or,
Hmm.
what the inside of somebody else who got lost in there, was imagining a Christmas tree or, something like that.
Yeah, I'm surprised that there wasn't Mary's backstory as a kid. Her mom becomes very paranoid, and kind of like, I think she has a troubled childhood because of it.
Yeah. Seems
And
like agoraphobia with a little hint of hoarding.
yeah, and I'm surprised that her mom didn't make an appearance when everything's going to shit, you
It's
know?
true.
And like it
I
feels like kind of like a
mm.
layup.
When the things are going crazy, I did think um I had my film brain, my film school hat on,
Uh-huh.
and the little guy in the wheelchair with the lamp, I was like,
Mhm.
this is David Lynch core.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
I
yeah.
was I was like this whole scene and like the framing of it, the blocking of it, I was like, this is very Lynchian to me. And then I was like, take it off, take it off, lock
Yeah.
in.
Well, but you know, the excuse was like, right, if it's the like late 90s or the 90s, like wouldn't Twin Peaks have been on? Like couldn't someone who
Ooh,
has seen it, like, you know, it is in a
that's
way like
true.
another reading of this I had is that like the Backrooms like stands as like uh kind of like the creative process itself and how we're iterating off similar stories to like create something wholly new, you know?
Yeah.
I
That
guess
that that reading is not lost on,
yeah, yeah.
I think, any creative brained person that's watching this movie relates a little too hard to that one.
Yeah, yeah. Or the inverse of that, which is that it's Gen AI, right? It is like generating something things that it doesn't know what it means. You know, Kane Parsons has recently
Right.
said he's pretty anti AI, and it's a really interesting way to
Woo.
kind of look at that, that thing. And so considering these different meanings, I was kind of like, yeah, I don't know what the link is between them and the characters and blah blah blah. But I think you bring a great point that it is like just vague enough that these readings of it actually do make it more interesting, which I think I'm
Yeah.
getting on board with, you know?
I am so much more interested in hearing what people think the Backrooms is than actually
Mm,
hearing Mark Duplass tell me what the Backrooms is in the last 5 minutes. Like
yeah.
he doesn't, and I think that that's a smart storytelling choice, not just because it opens the door for them to make 10 more Backrooms movies, but because it's just a narratively stronger choice to
Mhm,
have the audience be able to read into it what they want and,
mhm,
keep questioning it for however many rewatches there are to come. Like this seems like a kind of movie to me that is going to be destined to become like a midnight rewatch kind of movie.
oh, yeah, yeah.
It's going to be that. So I feel like that's a strength of it, is that they don't tell you anything.
Yeah, I guess, like, a potential Backroom sequel probably what, you think it follows a completely new cast of people, but Mark Duplass is, like, the glue?
I hope so. I mean, I would hope that, yeah, I mean, Clark, rest in peace.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if we saw like remnants of Clark, or
Mm,
the very scary kind of Backrooms version of Renata Reinsva that is the
mhm,
last shot of this movie. I think that would be interesting to have that in like the background of a future movie. But
mm,
yeah, I think my gut tells me that if they were to go with another film, it would be a completely different setting, completely
yeah.
different cast, and maybe just, yeah, the hazmat guys, maybe Mark Duplass.
Yeah, I feel like you either go one of two ways, right? You either make it purposefully like a team of scientists like from the that company like that are exploring, or you make it a bunch of kids who get stuck down there,
Oh,
you know?
not kids. Oh, come on.
But that's how
It's
you
too close.
introduce crazy monsters cuz the kids' imagination is crazy.
That's
That's how we
true.
get the Demogorgon,
That's
Gabby.
true. Oh my god. Don't make me relive Stranger Things season 5. Don't do that to me.
Vecna Backrooms crossover.
I'm sure Jamie Campbell Bower is available.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
And the Duffer
um,
Brothers are like, "Hey, Kane Parsons, what you up to next year?"
what you up to? Do you want
You
to develop a show that'll take 10 years to make 3 seasons of?
we can
Doesn't
call it the
sound fun.
Upside Down Room.
Doesn't that sound fun? But Evan, really
Mhm.
important question for you
Yeah.
based off of all this discussion about the Backrooms being what
Mhm.
you make it. You're in a room right now.
Mhm.
You see like a sliver of light. You go to touch it and you
Uh-huh.
fall through.
Yeah.
You're in the Backrooms. What does your backroom look like?
I feel like my Backrooms looks like I've been in office spaces like the ones in the movie. I take a lot of pictures that are very similar to the spaces portrayed in the movie. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was like an office space like that. But one place
Mm.
I think that it could be is just like iterations of empty cafeterias. Because high school cafeterias at night are really creepy, you know? Like I remember in high school being like,
Mm.
"Whoa, the cafeteria lights are on, no one's in there." That's scary. That's a place you expect a lot of
Mm.
people to be. So, I have a
Mm.
very vivid image in my head of taking a picture in a like mall cafeteria, and that it was a completely empty at like 10 p.m. at night, and it's one of my favorite pictures I've ever taken, and also very sad and a little concerning. So I think that's what it would look like, you know, these like long tables and empty stalls with like
Mm.
different letterings of like trying to replicate restaurants and stuff like
Oh my
that.
god.
Yeah,
An
food
abandoned
courts.
Orange Julius.
Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly.
um, that's funny that you say that. I think mine I was picturing because I dream about it a lot. Like
Hmm.
in every time I have like a really vivid dream where I'm like stuck someplace, it is
Mm.
absolutely always the Staten Island Mall where I grew up.
Oh.
It is. It's like specifically like this area where there used to be like a J.C. Penney and an
Hmm.
Applebee's and like a
Hmm.
McDonald's that I was never allowed to go into the play zone of.
Oh
I feel
no.
like I feel like that's my back rooms is just
Yeah.
like an old J.C. Penney going for miles and miles, acres.
Well, if you
Um
want that experience, just go to the Burlington Coat Factory at the
in
AMC at
Burbank,
the Burbank Mall. Just go to the bottom floor, and that's what that feels like.
I will not be there.
Exposure therapy. Exposure therapy.
No. No. I just I drove past the Staten Island Mall a couple years ago when I was like visiting, and it
Hmm.
looks like I must say it looks like it's popping right now. So I don't think that'll be happening anytime soon. Stay golden. What?
Wait. The stat. Hold on. This is gonna. This is. We gotta. It's worth me looking this up. Is it just called the Staten Island Mall? What is it called?
Yeah, I think so. Or there's only one, or there used to be when I was growing up only one. I think now there's one by
Okay.
the ferry, but there didn't used to be.
Okay.
It should just be the
So
Staten Island Mall.
I will tell you. I think this is the
Yeah.
same place. Um, Me and my family have been going here for dinner for the last couple years because
Why?
my family, my mom's side of the family who lives in Staten Island, they just discovered this Chinese restaurant that's in there, and my aunt is like a regular. And so now we go to this Chinese
Oh
restaurant
my
all the
god.
time, and there's always a banner that says happy birthday hung up, just in case.
Oh
It's
my
really
god.
funny. Yeah.
Oh man. I'm gonna
That
have to
is so funny. I'll take a
I'm
picture next
gonna
time I'm there, or I'll have my
you
parents take a
have
picture.
to. I think there's an AMC in it now. Like it used to be
Mhm.
so mid when I was a kid. It was just like the lowest level department stores, and now it's just like AMC, Dave and Buster's. Like it's popping for
Yeah.
those. Oh, to be a teenager on Staten Island now.
I
But
think this is it. Maybe I could there's a small possibility I'm wrong, but like you said, how many malls could there be?
there's only one main mall on Staten Island, as far
No,
as I
this
know.
has got to be it because we
It
walked
has
around
to
once and I
be.
remember being really impressed by it because I was like, "Oh, this mall's popping." This is
Exactly, because
funny.
it's
I
the
can't
only
wait to take a
one.
picture.
Fuck.
Yeah, next time I'm back, I'll take a picture. So
Oh my
funny.
god.
All right,
Well,
before we talk about
weird
1 hour
segue.
photo. Yeah.
Weird segue, weird sidetrack, but yeah, you're right. I think we would be remiss before we talk about 1 hour photo, not to talk about the YouTube movie moment
Mhm.
that's happening right now between Obsession, Backrooms, Shelby Oaks, and you rightfully noted Iron Lung that came out
Mhm.
earlier this year. Can't forget it.
And Shelby Oaks came out last year too, I
Yes, it
believe.
did. And
So it's been
you
starting.
tell me if I'm wrong, but was it also the guys that did Talk to Me? Were they
Mhm.
YouTube
They were
too?
YouTubers as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Talk to Me, and they came out with another really creepy movie last year, but I didn't see because
Yeah, it
some
was also 3 words, I think.
somebody told me it had something to do with like there was a really scary scene involving teeth, and I was like, no,
Mhm.
that's enough. Oh, Bring Her Back. Bring Her Back.
Yeah, 3 words.
Yes. With Sally
Sally
Hawkins.
Hawkins, yeah. Um, Yeah, so I mean, it's not new, right, that people who have gotten their start other places get to make movies, but there is something really interesting about this like confluence of three different directors getting three very different types of deals to bring their movies to theaters and have audiences come out for them, right? Iron Lung, I believe, was self-distributed. Obsession was distributed by Focus. It's one of their biggest movies ever, and
Mhm.
Focus has been
Yes.
around for a long time.
Long, long
Um,
time.
and Backrooms, A24, and a huge opening for A24 as well. There's, I think, as we move away from the Marvel IP, right, as people taking IP trying to make universes out of them, right? We grew up in the prime age of it. Teenage Mutant
Mhm.
Ninja Turtles movies, Transformers movies, right? Marvel, DC. As we're moving away from that stuff, the things that are attracting people are not only IPs that have been established on the internet, like Backrooms, but also people who are already cultivating audiences, cultivating audience trust. That it's like you can watch something and
Mhm.
enjoy this thing and come and see in in a bigger format, right? I think another
Right.
great success case in the same exact vein, because a lot of these people have come from comedy, moving over to horror,
Right.
is Jordan Peele, right? Jordan Peele
Jordan
doing
Peele.
Key and Peele, and then doing um uh uh, uh, Get Out, that
Get
was the first
Out. Get
one.
Out.
Us, Nope,
Mhm.
Um,
And even,
it's
I mean, I know, I don't know if he was YouTube so much, but Zach Kreger of
mhm.
Barbarian and Weapons was in a comedy troupe,
Yeah, Whitest Kids You
Whitest
Know.
Kids You Know. And I think that this movie, I don't know if you've, I don't remember if you watched Barbarian when Weapons came
Mm-mm.
out, but I think I sensed a lot of Barbarian in this movie, which I thought was interesting.
Mm,
I think it's interesting to see where like new filmmakers are taking their inspiration from, because I think that
yes.
it's very different than kind of the filmmakers of that we're used to,
Mhm.
than like your Tarantinos that burst onto the scene and was like a full-fledged cinephile, had seen movies that you didn't know existed, knew about genres that you didn't know existed, and now it's kind of like this anecdote's been getting passed around about Obsession, but that Curry Barker, a director of that film, was inspired by an episode of The Simpsons,
Mhm. Yeah.
Treehouse of Horror, and amazing. I think that sounds great. I
Yeah.
love The Simpsons. Um, it's a crucial blueprint of my life. So I think it's interesting to me where people are taking their inspiration from, and especially people like even like Kane Parsons. This is a good segue into our pairing, because the movie that he cites as a major inspiration for Backrooms is not a super well known like
Mhm.
film bro cinephile movie. I had
Mhm.
heard of this movie, but I knew about it because it was kind of a flop and didn't work. But clearly it was inspiring to somebody like Kane Parsons, there's still merit there. I'm not sure merit for Kane Parsons, maybe not for us, but
Yeah, yeah. Well, Kane Parsons also cites some video games too, and I think that's like an a great, another point similar to what you're making is that a new generation of filmmakers who are actively getting experience, not because they're getting like three picture deals from a studio taking a chance on them, but they're cutting their teeth, so to speak, on YouTube, where the barrier
yes.
to entry is zero, but it's
Mhm.
about what you make out of it, and trying to cultivate an audience and a following from that, right? But also getting to know yourself a little bit better, getting more in tune with like how you work. And clearly it's paying off for people like Curry Baker and Kim Parsons as they make this leap into theatrical filmmaking.
Mhm.
I wouldn't be surprised, like, classically, right? Is like, what is the wrong lesson to take from this success? Go find
Ooh.
some YouTuber who's just like out there doing it and like give them a theatrical deal.
Yeah.
But there's pros
Any
and cons to that, right? But I will say I'm already seeing like the success with people I know. Like this translates to them. A long time ago I worked on a film where with a guy named Caleb Phillips, who we were just just doing grip and electric with each other. But he was like, "Hey, I actually just finished a short film. It was in some festivals, but I'm gonna put it on YouTube." And this horror short film went viral. and he used that cultural cachet to help fund his first feature. His first
Mhm.
feature played at South by, and now
Wow.
he just was signed by WME because he was put on a list
Oh.
of YouTube filmmakers to know, you
Ah,
know?
well,
And
congrats to
so,
him.
yeah, and so
Because
we're
I do
seeing
feel
it.
like YouTube kind of is a backrooms of its own making
Yeah,
at this
it's a
point,
great point.
where
Yeah.
like it is so saturated on YouTube.
Mhm.
So I do think, yeah, wrong lesson to take from this would be to just like cherry pick a bunch of people that have a lot of followers
Mhm.
and give them huge budgets to make something.
Yeah.
Um, right lesson is that YouTube can be a really powerful tool
Mhm.
in finding new voices and, giving people a stepping stone towards becoming better, bigger storytellers. But
Yeah.
yeah,
A new
maybe.
incubator of talent. And I don't know if the next person looking on YouTube wants to find, I don't know, two creative people with a podcast about movies with about
Mm,
145
mm,
subscribers and
mm,
averaging only a
mm,
couple hundred views per video,
mm,
and give
mm.
us or give them, sorry, a chance to just like
Them.
work on something kind of cool, or like, just a couple $1,000s to make something.
Oh my God.
I don't
Yeah. Like
know. I think it'd be kind of a
maybe.
revelation.
That would be pretty cool. I mean, yes, I am a writer, but I also happen to work in a jewelry store. So, much like Clark, I could get lost in a back room anytime you like for the right price. No.
Yeah, I think we could call it Cut Gems from A24.
Cut gems. Lab cut gems.
Lab Cut Gems.
Evan, let's talk about the worst thing you've ever done to me right after this.
What a crazy hook. Okay. We're
We're
back to
back.
talk about 1 Hour Photo, which premiered
Hmm?
August 21st, 2002, directed and written by Mark Romanek, produced by Pamela Koffler, Christine Vachon, and Stan Wlodkowski, starring an absolutely terrifying, Gabby's words, Robin Williams, as well as Connie Nielsen, Michael Vartan, and Gary Cole. Excited to talk a
Mhm.
little bit more about this movie, but first let's talk about the box office so far. So this is weekend 2
Yep.
Backrooms, and it is absolutely killing it. Sits at $195 million worldwide as of recording. Pretty unheard of for a movie at this scale, especially for A24. I mean, I think Civil War was one of the top earners. It's already earned more than Everything Everywhere All at Once as well. Just in
And
3 days.
Marty Supreme. He only had the crown for like what, 6 months? Already took it
Oh
from
man.
Marty.
Hey, that's
But
okay.
it's
Nixon
okay.
4, right?
Exactly. I was just gonna say Knicks in the finals. Timmy's gonna be okay.
He's
Let's go
fine. Nothing
Knicks.
else matters now.
Let's go
1 Hour
Knicks.
Photo, not so much a box office smash, 52 million in its run. Not too bad for 2002, especially for a very what I imagine hard to market movie.
Hmm.
Robin Williams, and maybe possibly one of the darkest roles he's done, I imagine, especially up to that
I
point.
think so. I mean, yeah. I mean, listen, his character in Good Will Hunting is dark, but dark, darker than you want to believe at first
Mm-hmm.
glance of Good Will Hunting, but not even close to this shit. Cy the photo guy,
Sigh.
this
Sigh.
he's my new sleep paralysis demon. He
Oh
is
no.
absolutely horrifying in this movie
Yeah.
with the like short cropped bleach blonde hair. Ooh, and like pedophile glasses. I hate it.
Mm-hmm. Well, like if you're unaware of 1 Hour Photo, it is about Cy, played by Robin Williams, as Gabby mentioned, who is a photo technician working at a warehouse superstore who becomes obsessed with a family whose photos he has developed for over a decade. Gabby, what did you think about this movie?
Traumatizing, horrifying. Not sure if I can ever forgive you for making me see Robin Williams in this light. Um, I I love Robin Williams for his career and work. Mostly pivotal film of my childhood, Mrs. Doubtfire. Love that movie.
Mm-hmm.
It is absolutely unhinged watching it as an adult, but as a child, very charming. Loved it.
Mm-hmm.
And now I have to live with this side of Robin Williams too in my brain. Whew. And I just like I'm having trouble like putting it together in my head, like why he decided to do this role. because
Sure.
honestly, he already had his Oscar. You know, it's not like he was taking a gritty, dark role to try and get his Oscar nomination. He already had it.
Mhm.
He
Mhm.
already had several Oscar nominations and one win already. So I'm like, what possessed him to do this one? Just for fun? Just see a little edginess?
Yeah, I mean, maybe, obviously Rob Williams is a very talked about figure. He was dealing with a lot in his personal life. It's possible that, maybe there was an exploration of like needing to get this darkness out in a way that was appealing to him.
Maybe. That's a generous way to put it. But could be. Um, you do have some complicated feelings to this movie as well, though.
Yeah.
You suggested it, even though you have a history. Please tell the
Yeah.
people.
So I've never seen this movie, but I do remember watching commercials for it as a kid and being very freaked out because I it had never occurred to me, right, especially as a kid, that when you drop off photos for developing, which is what you had to do when you shot
Hmm.
on film, that someone was looking at all those photos, that someone could, be an observer of your life, especially if you go back to the
Oh, it's
same one
horrifying.
over and over again. And I remember being really creeped out by the commercials for it. I haven't looked them up since watching this movie, but seeing that Kane Parsons had referenced it as a inspiration, and it also reminded me as I was looking more into the movie, the director Mark Romanek has directed another very very bleak movie, Never Let Me Go, which I've referenced several
Hmm.
times on this podcast. I got to see him do a Q&A of it 10 years later. He reflected on the
Hmm.
film in a very candid way. I really appreciated that, but clearly he's got a lot of stuff going on for writing this movie.
Whew.
He's directed very few feature films, and those
Okay,
two, are
I
proof.
noticed that in his filmography, and I was like, okay, so this was very purposeful. um,
Yeah. More of a music
but
video, commercial
yeah,
guy. Yeah.
which does make it more interesting to me as a project, like why
Hmm.
Robin Williams took this on and why someone with such a limited filmography would, throw their weight behind something like this. I mean, I think it's a really interesting premise, like you've mentioned,
Yeah.
and it's a terrifying premise. I mean, to real like I personally get freaked out when like the local coffee shop that I go to remembers my order. Like I can't imagine like somebody looking through my life in photos for 10 years and then keeping it creepily on their wall at home for like
Hmm.
without my knowledge. Um but it is definitely a depiction of, as you noted, a descent into madness.
Hmm.
And I think that has a lot to do um, with Backrooms. Kane Parsons also kind of cited it as not just inspiration for that, but for the look of the outside world in
Hmm.
Backrooms, which is very stark and very um, it's kind of portrayed with a lot of like big wide shots of feeling
Yeah.
like you're like in a place that almost doesn't feel real, and the store,
Yeah.
the Save Mart in 1 Hour Photo almost does not feel real. Like it is essentially a Walmart, but it
Hmm.
is very like
Even
it
more
feels fake.
sterile somehow.
Yes,
Yeah.
it
I wouldn't be surprised if it was a fully constructed set.
I think, yeah, it looked very real. I mean,
Hmm.
but also, yeah, it was just the sterility of it really stands out, and
Yeah.
it kind of contributes more to Psy's worldview, I think.
Hmm.
In I think going back, I would look at it more as like maybe the store doesn't look like that, maybe it just looks like that to Psy, but
Mm.
which I think could be interesting, um, based on just the very few peeks into his mind that we actually get. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, you were scared just by the commercials for this film.
Hmm.
Um, how did it feel to see the whole thing for the
I mean,
first
it's
time?
great. It's great to finally check it off the list, right? To check off a fear, to confront something so immediately. The movie was incredibly unsettling. All the moments that you were live texting me during, like he's pooping in their house, which we find out
Which,
later is a vision, but
but
still
still,
very scary.
he was fantasizing about pooping in their house. What
Hmm.
kind? to me, I don't even like the rest of it is unhinged, but that's worse. That is so much worse to me than him like wielding a knife at someone.
Yeah. It was really because I wasn't ever sure what the actual premise of him like getting obsessed with the photos was. So to see the way that was portrayed, like you said, the wall of photos in his house, the way he
Mhm.
has some of them framed, the way he refers to them as his family members to strangers.
Yes.
It was
Scary.
quite unsettling, and the way that they reveal everything. While I was watching, I felt like, is it all too soon? But it was like, actually, no. You kind of need to just get up, get that out of the way and be like, this is this guy's reality, you know?
It's really distorted, and it's like a reality that he is trying to build in a way which is very Backrooms. I see the link.
Yeah. I mean, Kane Parsons also said, besides it a reference for the visual look for the inside and the outside world, but also like saying it's a story that focuses on an individual who's sort of fallen into an isolated place in life where he's got his profession, he's got the deal he's made with the modern world and the world we live in, and how he uses some very specific technical functions of this modern world to give him a profound feeling of purpose and engagement with his life and his sense of self, right?
That's
Once
true.
Clark goes into
He
the back rooms and he feels like he is now powerful because he's like, there's no one here to confront me, but I can
mm,
like I can now shape the world how I want it to be, which is very dangerous, especially in the male loneliness epidemic.
oh boy. Um yeah, and for Sai, he's kind of doing that, almost in a more dangerous way because it is endangering other people. It is,
hmm
being brought into the real world. Clark, at least he can't really hurt anyone in the back rooms. He's just hurting
Until
himself.
someone, yeah, until someone else real goes down there. Otherwise, he'll just
Until
be
yeah,
eating other
until
fake people.
yeah, until somebody follows him. He's not hurting anyone. But Sai, I don't know. He
Yeah.
does have a real sense of pride in those photos. I get
hmm
it. I mean, he views his life's work as vital, and when that is taken away from him, and he's fired, because it's found out that he kind of like he's
He's
been
forging
making
the
extra
numbers of the
copies,
prints.
right? He's been
Yeah.
making extra copies of all these prints for like 10 years. So somebody, I guess, finally after 10 years took a look at that audit,
hmm
and he gets fired, and he kind of just has a even more of a break with reality, whereas the first part of the movie he's trying to kind of put himself into this family that he idealizes life,
hmm
like as a friend, to the scene where he's like trying to befriend the little boy.
Oh
Scary,
my god.
horrifying. Hate
So
it.
scary. And it's crazy because Robin Williams has such a natural warmth to him, which
Yeah,
ultimately makes it even more unsettling. Because
right.
you're like, this guy is trying in his head, he tries to mean well, and he's coming off like okay, but we know his actual motive as the
Mm,
audience, and it's just
yeah.
so creepy. Yeah.
Yeah. And then to put that in contrast with the second part of the movie, after he loses his job and he feels like he has nothing left to lose, I guess, including the fact that he's not going to be part of this family's life in the same
hmm
way. So he decides, I think, in a way, I mean, to expose it, well, in a very violent way, to expose
Yeah.
this family as um broken, as
hmm
something flawed in it, which I thought was, again, I think it's interesting storytelling, um horrifying in practice.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like, you can tell that he's trying to create this sense of perfect reality that exists in a photograph because he is himself coming from a very troubled past. It's kind of implied at the end of the movie that he was potentially abused by his
Yeah,
parents, or by people very close to him, and
yeah.
that this is
i
like
could have
distorting
um
his sense of like what of how he perceives the world.
I could have used a little bit more of that,
Yeah.
in throughout the film. I think
hmm
um it's kind of abrupt in the very like
Yeah.
final 5 minutes of him kind of breaking down the police interrogation room.
Agreed.
And also, I want to know your take on the very end of this film, where he is in that interrogation room. He's been arrested because he threatened. the life of his old boss's small child,
Mhm.
indirectly, and then he kind of like stalks the father in this family who's having an affair. He holds the father and his mistress at knife point, makes
Mhm.
them do like lewd sex acts, seemingly on camera, um, and is ultimately arrested, fleeing the scene. But um, I wonder what you took from this idea that we see what seemingly what he's taking photos of. It's very disturbing.
Mhm.
But at the very end, he asks the police officer if he can see the photos that he took
Mhm.
in the hotel room. And they're not really of anything. They're just like, it's a picture of a lamp, it's a picture of the curtains. Like, it's not
Mhm.
any actual photos of this man and this woman who are having an affair. And I think that's the one thing that I was like, what does that even mean?
Yeah, I think there's like from a plotting perspective, I do think there was a sense that he was trying to like self-sabotage himself. Like he was trying to set things up
Mm,
in order to be caught because he knew that there wasn't any coming back from what he was doing.
mm,
But to your point, we see him taking these pictures and the pictures that come out are not those things. And I think especially like as we've said there's this like late breaking reveal that he was abused as a child, doing some very terrible things potentially on
yes.
photograph, that
Horrible.
he ultimately couldn't bring himself to actually capture those acts on film, but the process
Hmm.
of doing it allowed him like this weird
Oh.
cathartic release of like of becoming
Mm,
those people and realizing that that was bad, and that he couldn't ever like
okay.
do that, so that he
Mm,
he maybe never allowed, he either took the pictures first and then was like the hotel pictures first and then was taking the sex acts, or he never put a roll of film in there in the first place, right? But there was
yeah.
probably some subconscious thing of like not fully letting him go the full way, but
Mm,
just to act out, like Mary's role play exercises in the back rooms, to
oh,
act out the what was happening in order to kind of like find
right.
some closure or something like that.
Yeah, I really like that reading. It didn't click for me when I was watching it, like a camera click.
Right.
But I think, yeah, I would have liked that though. I think I would have liked the movie more.
Mm,
Um, and I didn't dislike this movie. I just found it very disturbing.
yeah.
Which I think is the point. But I
Yeah,
think,
there's a
yeah, like,
very purposeful like guard between size interiority, right? Like we are,
yes.
even though he's narrating, even though he's the main character, there's still so much that we don't understand of how he operates and why. And I think to get some of those reveals would have been
Mm,
great. Or maybe it's because we weren't looking for it because we were so engaged with the current creepiness, right? Like he does talk
that's
about his
true.
mother, but he fakes a picture of
He
his
does.
mother, you know?
Yeah, it's not a real
Yeah.
picture. But um yeah, that's something that I would be interested to revisit on rewatch if I were ever planning on watching this film again.
It's a hard one, yeah.
Scary.
Yeah.
But I do like that reading. See, this is why you do a podcast with somebody so they can explain the end of movies to you when you don't get them.
I mean, this is a movie like I'll be one of the first people to say that like sometimes, not sometimes, but very oftentimes like after I watch a movie, I will go back and that person read the Wikipedia summary in full to make sure I'm like, did I get it
Mm,
all? Did I get it all? Not that it really clarifies anything, but I had the same question as you where I was like, what
mm,
exactly is going on there? And it was just to have that clarity that of when he is talking to the person interrogating him that he was abused, like just to have the clarity of him of the summary implying that he was saying that about himself. I was like, okay, there we go. That helps
right,
bring
right,
it all into
right.
place, as opposed to the objective act of, right? Because there is a line earlier in the movie where he's doing voiceover where he's like, we need to report like any like kiddie porn or like anything
Oh, yeah.
abusive,
Mm-hmm.
but we got a lot of amateur
Regular
porn
porn is
artists and stuff
fine,
like that.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
Interesting.
which I remember the film lab that I go to posted an Instagram story being like, please don't take pictures of your kids and then immediately take pictures of yourself naked on the next shot. Like, it is very jarring for us.
Yeah, that would be bad. I
Yeah.
don't like that. Mm-mm. Even just, yeah, adjacent nudity. Bad.
Yeah, separate that as its own role and go to one
hmm
place and then never go back to it again.
Separate camera. Separate
Yeah.
camera is what I would simply what I would do
Yeah.
in that
Also,
situation.
also nice to see Connie Nielsen and Gary Cole,
Gary
Connie Nielsen,
Cole.
Gladiator, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Gary Cole, Veep, and also
Veep,
Office Space. I think he probably got typecast after Office Space and did this.
probably. Um, yeah. Ultimately, I see the links. I see what you're cooking, Kane Parsons, and I'm ultimately not sure if I want more. But
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you go. You go.
Oh,
Support you.
two quick shout outs that I just see in this cast list here. Obviously, gotta shout out Clark Gregg. I
Oh
love
my
when Clark
god.
Gregg appears somewhere because he's so iconic as Agent Phil Coulson from the Avengers that like anytime he pops up in anything else, I'm like, there's Clark Gregg. They're doing his
Really?
thing.
To
I
me,
think
he
Phil
is
Coulson,
to me he's like he's the ex-husband in the New Adventures of Old Christine,
Oh
the
my
sitcom.
god.
That's who he
Oh
is to
my
me.
god, that's right.
Non-Marvel
Um
brain.
Also, the amateur porn guy we just referenced, you know who that was? I didn't even recognize him.
No?
Jim Rash.
What?
Yeah, crazy.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna maybe I will go back now that my rental is not up for another 13 hours and just
Yeah.
skip to that one. But
I
I did want to sign off by telling people not to watch this movie at work. Um I did watch this on my lunch break at work, like the majority of it, and
uh
then I had to like go back into work and like deal with very happy people who are trying to get engaged and or married, and I was just like, "Hello." I felt like the Robin Williams like scene where his eyes are bleeding. I was like,
Oh, yeah. Like that's so unsettling.
mm-hmm.
Um
Just
oh
a
god. Just
PSA
a
before we
PSA.
sign out. Um,
Uh
Alternate pairings, real quick.
mhm.
We mentioned Blair Witch.
Mhm.
I considered, but then immediately did not consider Skinamarink because as I mentioned, I hate it. And I think it would be too recent, even though we did break our recency bias for Top Gun Maverick.
That's true.
Um, and I thought of some Lynch movies.
Mm.
I thought about a Mulholland Drive. I thought about Twin Peaks: The Return, which has some very similar kind of or not The Return, I'm sorry, Fire Walk with Me.
Okay.
Fire Walk with Me, again, also one of the most disturbing movies I've ever seen in my life. But just to have the room, the lodge, the dark lodge,
Sure.
um be kind of as another liminal space for Dale Cooper, and for Laura Palmer, for so many like iconic characters. And like I said, I saw a lot of Twin Peaks kind of Twin Peaks esque characteristics in that scene with the dinner, and the
Yeah.
repeating faces, the kind of weird way of speaking. Have you ever seen that movie
Mm-mm.
or any Twin Peaks? No.
No, but I know the actor who played Leland Palmer.
Scary, scary man. I know he's probably very nice, but scary, scary
Yeah,
man.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I think one thing for me with the Backrooms is even though I didn't have like a great link besides looking up, 1 hour photo,
mhm.
something that helped prepare me for the movie, I think to be a little bit less afraid was I started playing the game Control. Control came out in like 2019, 2018. A really fun like third person shooter game where you
Mm,
are exploring a secret agency of the United States called the Federal Bureau of Control, I believe.
mm,
And it's basically an agency that explores like phenomenon, just like supernatural phenomenon. And so you are venturing through this very shifting space that feels a little Backrooms esque, but also you're encountering, objects that have like powers, and there are these like demon creatures that come out and like
Mm.
attack you. And so that helped me get into the mindset of being like, okay, we are exploring a new world that is like ours, but is
Mm.
a little bit different, and there's things that are happening that we should be afraid of. So yeah, that's a cool one. I wouldn't be surprised if they make a Control movie soon. Control's also based off some internet copy pasta, the SCP
Mm.
stuff. So highly recommend. I'm only halfway
I would
through, but it's been fun.
I would watch that. That sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Also, I want to correct myself. It's obviously called the Black Lodge, not the Dark Lodge. I don't know what I was thinking. It's been a long day, but
Been a long day.
I know my Lynch, and I don't want the shareholders to come for me claiming that I don't know my Lynch.
Oh, incredible. All right, well, that's it for us today. Again, if you're listening to us on audio, leave a review or comment, and don't forget to check out the video versions of these on YouTube at Back to the Future Pod. Again, if you are looking to give two aspiring creatives some money to make a feature film, hey, take a chance on Back to the Future. It's already got feature in the name,
That's right.
You can follow the podcast on Letterboxd Back to the Pod. You can follow us on Instagram and Back to the Future Pod. I made a reel about going to the back rooms and then seeing the
Yes.
back rooms in real life, and it got a lot of fun likes and things like that. So thanks for
Yes.
checking it out.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Evan, um, tell the people they will not have to wait so long to hear from us again, because this week you and I are going to
Disclosure Day. Very excited to check this out. I've been hearing some pretty good things. So
The early hype has got me very hyped. I'm very excited.
hell yeah. All right. Well,
So
thank you
yeah.
all so much for listening. We'll catch you next time. See ya.
Bye.